it is just pure drama. The Lane Kiffin saga finally came to an end. That is obviously where we start today. He will be the next coach at LSU. It looks like he's bringing some of his staffers from Ole Miss with him, not all of them. Pete Golding is going to stay. He's going to be the new interim. Actually, excuse me, he was promoted to the actual head coach for Ole Miss. We'll see how long he stays. But I like that move for Ole Miss. He's the main recruiter, and a good job, frankly, by Keith Carter. I think he kind of kept Lane talking all night. Like, the way that I see this situation play out, Lane wanted to have his cake and he wanted to eat it too. He wanted to go to LSU because, let's be honest, that's the better job. And it's not a knock on Ole Miss, par with Georgia and Bama and Texas and Ohio State. And that's a top tier job. Ole Miss is a step below that. First of all, the talent in Louisiana is second to none. And you're not competing with any other Power 4 programs in the state of Louisiana, whereas Ole Miss is. I know Mississippi State's not exactly a powerhouse, but you're still competing with a lot of other talent in that area. And then the money and the resources that LSU has, I just think is better than what Ole Miss has. So I don't knock Lane for wanting to go to LSU. And I don't knock him for doing it before the playoff. He really didn't have a choice. Remember, Bo Prabula last year had to leave Penn State, backup quarterback, had to leave Penn State in the middle of a playoff run because he was going to go be the starter at Missouri. And it's the calendar that really handcuffed the coaches and the players into this situation where they have to make these moves right after the season ends. The issue that I have with how Lane handled this is he wanted not only the cake, but he wanted the ice cream and the sprinkles and the cherry on top. After you make the decision and you are open with the Ole Miss brain trust that you're leaving to go to a conference rival, the audacity to then say, you know what, I also want to stay for the next month and basically be a walking billboard for LSU while I'm on the sidelines of Ole Miss coaching in the playoff. Like, it's insane. And I credit Keith Carter, the AD of Ole Miss, for putting his foot down and saying, no, Lane, if you're going to LSU, you're done. And Lane, I guess, tried to continue to push and push and push. But what I think happened during this negotiation, which took place on Saturday night, I think it actually bought Keith Carter like a few hours to go reach out to some of the Ole Miss staffers and say, hey, are you with me or are you with Lane? And what I think that did is it actually prevented a mass exodus. Because let's be honest, Lane wanted to burn the place down. Lane wanted to not only go to LSU, but coach Ole Miss through the playoff and then take as many staff members as humanly possible with him to Baton Rouge. It really was one of those scenarios where Lane could have set the Ole Miss program back significantly further than it will be. And again, I credit Keith Carter. He played his hand as well as he could have. When you have a coach in this situation who wants to leave, you can't prevent him from leaving. But what you can do is you can prevent the mass exodus from following him. And I do think that's what took place here. I'm going to be rooting for Ole Miss like heck in the playoff. I don't have a horse in the race. Penn State's obviously out. I'm going to be rooting like heck for Ole Miss to pull this thing off in the playoff because I'll be honest, just a remarkable scene and made for TV drama that took place. Poor Marty Smith is like on location at wherever he was in Oxford last night, basically saying, the announcement's imminent. It wasn't imminent, not until the next day. So, bizarre situation, and I do think it only hurts the players and the fan base, these types of crazy coaching sagas. And it really is backwards because the coaches and the agents make all the money, and the players are left holding the check, and the fan base is screaming what could have been. So we'll see what happens in the playoff scenario here. I honestly don't know how it's going to play out with the committee and how much they downgrade Ole Miss, but Ole Miss does move on. Pete Golding will be the new head coach, Lane Kiffin to LSU.